What do we think Lido's market share will be in the next 2 to 3 years? This is a question that Vitalik has definitely been thinking about, given that he recently wrote a post on potentially enshrining liquid staking. He also mentioned that potentially relying on moralistic pressure to get users to switch away from Lido is not sustainable in the long run. I think we can all agree that competition and in the liquid staking ecosystem is very healthy for the network security and resilience. However, Lido's market share continues to grow and currently hovers around 31.5%. They also recently passed a proposal not to self-limit, so that number will probably continue to rise very soon. Today, I'd actually like to present 3 main trends that I'm seeing that will actually incentivize adoption of long-tail liquid staking tokens and pull market share away from Lido. The first one is novel infrastructure offerings that make it easier for any front end, such as a dApp or a wallet or an institution, to offer composable liquid staking solutions to their users. The second trend is general market forces, where these front ends are actually incentivized to leverage this new infrastructure to push new liquid staking products to institutional users, as well as old DeFi ones. And the third one is actually unique token designs in which front ends will leverage to help solve the cold start problem and drive value away from Lido. Firstly, novel infrastructure offerings. There's 2 categories here. The first one is liquid staking infra to support front ends, which results in less technical and resource overhead for front ends. And the second one is better DeFi composability for users, which results in a better UX and more protocol integrations. I'd like to highlight 3 different liquid staking infra projects that are currently launching in the space. The first one is Kiln, who's building an on-chain product. There's 2 kind of buckets here. The first one caters more towards funds and enterprise custody solutions, where the liquidity vehicle is actually an NFT. And this NFT can be used throughout DeFi, whether it's for lending or for exchanging. And the second one is a little bit more crypto native, which is a staking pool in which the liquidity vehicle is actually a regular ERC20 token. And this allows wallets and exchanges to essentially launch their own white labeled product. Kiln allows anyone to offer liquid staking in a transparent, non-custodial, and hassle-free manner. The second project, which I'm sure will be talked about a lot later today, is Stakewise v3. It's essentially a protocol that allows anybody to build customizable vaults on top of the protocol. Each vault could be managed by an institution or a wallet or an exchange, and they can customize these parameters such as fees, LTVs, slashing insurance. And the beauty of this protocol is that anybody who mints a liquid staking token is getting the exact same one, regardless of which vault they're depositing into. And this allows for aggregated liquidity across DeFi, whether it be for exchanges or lending protocols. The third infrastructure piece is node set. So I'm sure all of you know, but Rocket Pool has this thing where node operators need to collateralize RPL and ETH. The issue is that not every node operator has enough capital to scale, and a lot of node operators don't want to take on price exposure of the Rocket Pool token. NodeSet essentially allows RPL and ETH holders to lend their tokens to these node operators in exchange for a fee. And this actually eliminates the price exposure that these node operators need to take and will hopefully free up the deposit queue that's currently accruing. The second sub-bucket is better DeFi composability. So this is a chart that I put together about a year ago, and as you can see, very early on, it was very hard for anybody but Lido to get integrations. It very much relied on the Chainlink Oracle, and that served as the biggest bottleneck for LST adoption and integration. And also, 45% of all SDETH is on lending and DEX platforms, which further highlights the importance of integrations. So previously, these blue chip assets, such as Lido's SDETH, could only be listed on major lending protocols. There was like the Chainlink Oracle requirement, but also there was limited optionality for lenders. Whenever you deposit into Aave, you can't choose which collateral you're lending against. In the near future, any asset will be able to be used as collateral, and liquidity for long-tail collateral will actually be much more efficient. There will also be less reliance on oracles in general. The result is more integrations, more use cases such as looped yield, and more composability for long-tail liquid staking tokens. Just to highlight a few protocols innovating in the lending space, the first one is called Ajna, which allows lenders to choose different price buckets to deposit into. And this solution is also Oracle-free, which means that lenders are taking an active approach in lending, and that collateral can be any pool and any asset. The second one is called Morpho, which actually was announced recently. And what's interesting about this one is that they actually launched a vault layer on top of isolated pools. So you can start to imagine that protocols will start creating these vault strategies that specifically cater to lending to long-tail liquid staking tokens. Other protocols in the space include Ion, which is an ETH lending protocol that determines parameters through consensus layer data, Euler, which is coming out with V2 very soon, and Silo, which is already launched and has siloed lending markets with over 160 million in TVL. So in summary, the first trend is novel infrastructure offerings. The combination of new liquid staking infra alongside DeFi lending innovations will entice brands such as wallets and exchanges to run their own liquid staking solution, all while user experience is dramatically improved due to better liquidity and integrations. The second trend is general market forces. There's two categories here. The first one is institutional needs, and the second one is verticalization from various front ends. So the overarching thesis here is that institutional capital is the largest incremental staker in the next few cycles. And institutions have much different needs compared to crypto native users. Lido's solution is currently not the best fit for these institutions, and therefore it gives an opportunity to other protocols and companies to effectively take market share of a very, very fast-growing market. In terms of needs, there's many examples, but the most prominent ones include KYC and AML of parties across the stack, whether it be depositors or minters or the traders themselves. Auditability, so how easy is it to trace and attribute rewards, and then also segregated pools. So a lot of American financial institutions cannot mix funds with non-KYC users. So just wanted to highlight a few protocols and companies working in the space. So Kiln, which I touched on earlier, is working on white labeled solutions for companies. Alluvial has over 60 million TVL, and they KYC the minters as well as the validators. Stakewise has an institutional product called Portara, which actually fully end-to-end KYCs every party, and RockX is focused on centralized exchange liquidity. There's also vanilla staking solutions such as Blockdaemon and Figment as well. The second general subcategory here is verticalization from various front ends. So there's many pillars here. The first one is non-DeFi communities. So on Solana, there's an NFT community called MonkeyDAO who actually launched their own liquid staking solution that's still live today. And we also saw on Luna, many applications actually ran their own validators and incentivized native tokens to get users to switch from some of the larger validators. The second category here is wallets. They most definitely own the relationship with the user, and MetaMask has already launched with Lido and Rocket Pool's liquid staking solution. So I think it's pretty possible and intuitive that they would potentially run their own and put on a fee on top. The third category is centralized exchanges, where Coinbase and Binance have already launched their own liquid staking tokens. And I believe that others will follow suit as well as the capital inflows get bigger. And the degree of the success already of these two companies shows how important the user relationship actually is. Coinbase is the second largest solution despite charging the highest fee, a 25% commission. So in summary, many types of front ends can offer their own LSC solution to their very sticky user bases. So Lido caters very well to the crypto native user profile, which is why they're the most dominant solution today and represents the majority of current TAM. However, this changes with the entrance of institutional players. Lido also faces very heavy competition from protocols and brands trying to verticalize. The third one is unique token designs. There's three main pillars here. The first one is protocol value accrual. The second one is vampire attacks. And the third one is new incentive experiments. On the value accrual side, I think it's become clear that crypto native users favor projects that have value accretive token models. And Lido's current model does not give yield to token holders, which gives an opportunity to these newer LST protocols to essentially create a unique offering on token design alone. And one anecdotal evidence of this is GMX and Sushi, who actually built their initial communities through value accretive token models, as they essentially diverted yield to their holders, who also happened to be the users of the protocol, and this ended up creating a very nice flywheel for them. Another interesting angle here is value accrual is the token itself. So Rocket Pool, they get node operators to collateralize RPL, and this acts as a very strong token sink, which leads to more value creation for node operators and holders. And as a result, their market cap to TVL ratio has consistently traded above most of the other players in the space. The second pillar that I'd like to touch on is vampire attacks. So specifically, Diva launched a vampire attack on Lido about a month ago. And within that time frame, they were actually able to get over $40 million of Lido TVL converted to Diva ETH. So to incentivize users to switch, they actually gave native protocol tokens. And it's quite impressive because it's a bear market. And although I understand it's not a very big chunk of Lido's TVL, when you start to think about maybe 5 or 10 or 15 of these protocols vampire attacking at once, and also this happens during the bull market where the tokens are actually perceived to be more valuable, that could lead to a very meaningful dent into Lido's market share. The third pillar here is new incentive experiments. So on top of providing maybe yield to stakers, there's tons of other ways to incentivize adoption. The first one is emphasizing rewarding node operators. The second one is leaderboard-style referral system rewards catering to whales, which I'll touch on in a second. And the third one is liquidity incentives. And then the last one is novel airdrop mechanisms. So one idea that I've been tinkering with is conditional airdrops. So what if you promoted that if the protocol got maybe, let's say, like $1 million or 10 million or 100 million in TVL, you would only give those rewards if that milestone was reached. So this essentially creates kind of a common goal within the community and an interesting way of bootstrapping attention. Touching on the referral system, Lido did a tremendous job when they first launched. So they launched a program in July of 2021, and actually the top 10 referrals accounted for 99.62% of all of the incentivized ETH that came into the system. The exact same story here happened on Solana, where the top 4 wallets basically accounted for 99.9% of all ST sold deposits. And what's interesting is that these incentives are temporary, but they create a lasting impact. So when Lido first launched the incentive program, and for 30 weeks, they actually had much more deposits in the incentive ETH, which is the gray line, than the organic ETH that was deposited, which is the orange line. But after a certain period of time, when they got more TVL and more liquidity and more integrations, that actually flipped on its head, and organic ETH deposits became a much larger share of the protocol deposits. In summary, the third trend is unique token designs, emphasizing token value accrual. Vampire attacks and token incentives can help solve the cold start problem and serve as unique propositions to get users to switch from Lido. If you're looking to partner with one of our portfolio companies or are building in the space, please do reach out. My Twitter is Mikey0x_. I'll also be around for the next few weeks. And thank you for listening to my presentation.